And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed,
680 to 90, 10-4.
could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Walking into the building for the first time after the shooting, it was crippling, but it had to be preserved.
In response to the Pulse nightclub shooting that affected the LGBTQ community, Barbara Poma, owner of Pulse, founded the One Pulse Foundation to honor Pulse victims and survivors.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart. It is the power of love. It's rawest.
Join the fight for LGBTQ acceptance. And now at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Good morning! It's time to wake up. It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game. Come on!
Oh, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome into the Pregame Show. This is Joe Spadoni, and we have an awful lot to get into as the Golden State Warriors come all the way back from a 17-point deficit at halftime, easy enough for me to say, to just destroy the Blazers in the second half, outscoring them in the second half 76-40. 76-40 in the second half, erase that huge deficit and get a much-needed victory to now go 2 games over 500. All this without Stephen Curry or Andrew Wiggins. Draymond Green, great to have him back last night in that lineup. And just a huge win for the Golden State Warriors. There's no other way around it. Every single win, every single game we have been talking about is going to get magnified times 1,000 down the stretch here. And man, the Western Conference, it's crazy right now. You were looking at the Warriors just yesterday. It's like, okay, man, play in. You're the 5th seed. Congratulations, Warriors fans. Well, at least for today until you play the Clippers tomorrow, and which something else might change. You're half game up on the Clippers right now in the 5th spot. You're only half game back of the Phoenix Suns. Check that. 1 game back. So, listen, you still got home court advantage potentially on the line if you're the Golden State Warriors. That seemed crazy just 24 hours ago, but that's where we're at. So 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. That's the number if you would like to get involved today in the show. Xfinity mobile text line, call or text. Again, 888-957-9570. You can call or text that number. YouTube, Twitch, hello, how you doing? Hit me up there. You can hit me up on Twitter, at Spadoni_Joe. Jesus M in the YouTube chat. What's up? We got Sad Jose Fan. Hashtag Fisher out. I like that name. Anyone else surprised Dubs won last night? That's exactly what we needed. There you go. And listen, we're going to hear a lot from Steve Kerr, from Dante DiVincenzo, from Draymond Green, from all these guys. And shout out to the night crew last night who cut this up. There's like 50 cuts here after the game, and they did a hell of a job. So Sterling, whoever is here cutting the game last night, appreciate all you guys who do that. It's not an easy job, the night crew. Don't get a lot of love, but I like to shout them out if I can. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. Steve Kerr on the closing half in that comeback.
It was good to close the half and just make it a little more of a manageable deficit. But I just felt like the intensity picked up in the second half. The defense was much better. We held them to, I think, 40 points in the second half. So they were amazing early on. They were hitting everything. And we were a little scattered, kind of had a different game plan tonight than normal and still putting some things together a little bit out there during the first quarter. And I thought we did a much better job of executing defensively in the second half.
Especially on Damian Lillard, who was just getting anything he wanted in that first half. And then he ended the game. You look at the numbers, like, 9 to 21, okay, 25 points, Yeah, he got his. He was a net neutral on the plus minus, 0. So they did a hell of a job adjusting, and that was a coaching clinic by Steve Kerr last night against Chauncey Billups, the head coach of the Trailblazers. There's just no other way around it. When you have that much of a discrepancy from half to half, that's coaching. Yes, it's also the players because they're playing the game, obviously, and there has to be some defensive intensity ratcheted up, and there was. It's also scheme. Hey, Dame's getting anything he wants? Well, let's make that not happen. And they did a hell of a job on that. And my God, Klay Thompson just continues to be clutch when this team needs him to be clutch. Getting the 4 assists. Look at Klay getting the assist number ups. He had 23 points. Dante DiVincenzo, again, 8 of 11, 5 of 7 from the three-point land, 21 points. Draymond, 4 of 5 from the floor, 12 points, 9 boards, 8 assists. Near tripped up for Draymond. Loon Dog, what more can you say? 7 of 8, 14 points. Jordan Poole, 29 points. He was a plus 25. Then you look at the bench. Kuminga, 8 of 10. These guys weren't missing. That first half, it seemed like a mirage. I don't even remember it. Blocked it out. Because that second half was just en fuego. Shout out Dan Patrick, Sports Center. Kuminga with 16 points, 3 boards and a steal. Anthony Lamb making clutch plays on the defensive end. He had 4 points. So, listen, when you have guys like Dante DiVincenzo stepping up the way he stepped up, Kevon Looney, the way he stepped up all season, Klay Thompson, how he's played the last few months, and then Draymond Green. It was scary, by the way. Draymond Green during that game, thought he had hurt his wrist or something like that. He had to leave. He came back. I was like, this is not what this team needs. Right when he thought he got him back, he leaves again early in that second quarter. Well, he's back. Everything's all good. Looked fine. And Draymond, he's not trying to stay, he's trying to stay even keel. He's not trying to overreact to this game. And he talked about that after the game.
You overreact and you get out of character. We've been down against this team before, 17 points, 20 points, you name it. With the pace of the NBA today, you can come back from down 30, no problem, because you're going to have enough possessions. And so it's really about staying even keel and sticking to the game plan. We come out, you're plugging off Matisse Thybulle. He goes 5 for 6 from 3. He hits those first, 3 or 4 threes. It's easy to overreact, but he's 5 from 6 from 3, and Damian Lillard's 2 from 7 from 3. What it does to the defense is totally different than if Dame's 5 for 6 from 3, because now you're overreacting. Everybody's, you're sending 2 and 3 guys and other guys are getting open shots. And so, just stick to the game plan. I think I'm in a position to say that because I know this coaching staff. I know when they put specific game plans together, it works. I've seen it work year after year, playoff run after playoff run. When they lock in and put a specific game plan together, we want to guard guys this way, make this guy score and not let this guy. When they do that, it works. Coach told us before the game, like, hey, we're going to try this game plan, and this is more like a playoff game plan for us. You come out in the first half, Houston Rockets hit all the threes, and you stay the course. Not switch your defense, not get away from what you wanted to get to. And we did that, and, second half, it was a totally different game.
It was a totally different game. I forgot about that first half. Blocked it out of my mind. I just looked at that second half and was like, this is the team we thought the Warriors would be all year. Granted, the Blazers aren't very good. They're now 3 games under 500. But again, you've been playing bad teams all year and losing to them. Need I remind you, the Detroit Pistons, the Orlando Magic, 4 losses right there. So the Warriors, you cannot take any of these games or teams for granted. You have to go in there. You got to go out there and be tough. Shout out Guru. Got to go out there and be tough. And they haven't been tough on the defensive end all season long. God, that was a breath of fresh air last night at Chase Center. Was it not? 888-957-9570. 888-957-9570. Steve Kerr talked about the team's execution on defense.
We know all too well what Dame can do when he gets rolling. So that was the plan from the beginning. Like, let's just try to take him out. And the biggest thing was not fouling him. That's why I was losing my mind on those 2 foul calls early in the game. I didn't think we fouled him, but he was driving to the rim and drew 2 fouls, I think. And he shot 16 free throws last time we played them. And that was the difference. So tonight he had 5 early and we didn't foul him at all in the second half. So that was key. And you just make a decision. You're just going to make somebody else make a shot instead of him. And that's pretty much as simple as it gets.
Well, there was still a free throw discrepancy, not that extreme, but if you looked at another guy on the Blazers who shot a lot last night, other than Lillard, who only shot 5, made all 5, was Jeremy Grant, 13 of 15 from the line. He couldn't get a shot down to go for anything. 1 of 8 from 3, 5 of 17. Jeremy Grant's one of those players, too. He's just an irritant. He's a really solid player. He's good, smart. But last night, the Warriors just did a great job on him. Everyone. They just held everyone in check. Matisse Thybulle, to Draymond points earlier, listen, he's not going to do that far too often. He's more of a defensive player who occasionally can get hot. Well, he got hot last night, and it didn't bite him. They didn't let Damian Lillard get hot, which, again, would have changed everything with how their defense went. But credit to them. Dame just scored 71 freaking points. Yeah, he was up there with guys like Kobe and Wilt. And you just held him in check this game. That was impressive. And Damian Lillard, what does he like to do when he comes home? I know, he's from Oakland, it's in San Francisco, we get all that. To the Bay, you know what I mean. He likes to put on a show. Well, you know who put on a show last night instead? Dante DiVincenzo, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kevon Looney, Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga with the dunk of the year. And then, by the way, Shaedon Sharpe, my goodness. Whew. It's all right. Draymond got the dub, but my God, he got yammed on. I love being all the different group chats and seeing all the delayed reactions because we're all watching at different points. I paused the game because at 8 o'clock, I got to go take young Benjamin to go to sleep. And I was like, well, I think I'm going to be able to go to sleep early tonight, right? Because I can just fast forward. Then this is going to be a blowout. And no, it wasn't. The Warriors changed my mind pretty damn quick in that third quarter when they outscored the Blazers 39-17. But it's funny to see all the different reactions as my phone's bleeping up when I'm just trying to put Benny to sleep. Did you just see that dunk? Oh, my goodness. It's like, yes, I haven't seen it. I will. But my God, just great plays last night all around, and especially from the Golden State Warriors as they improved to 32-30 on the season. They're the 5th seed, folks. I don't know how. I don't know how they're doing it, but they're doing it. Can they build on this? We're going to find out. Huge game tomorrow against the Clippers. They're going to come to Chase Center to wrap up this road trip. The longest remaining, check that, home trip, the longest remaining home stand for the Golden State Warriors. And they're going to be going on the road against New Orleans coming up. Then you got Lake Show. Then you got the Thunder. Check that. Pelicans at Chase Center. I'm all over the place this morning. I need my coffee. I hit up the morning roast. They needed it. I needed it. So hopefully we're going to get that soon. But my God, if you're doing all this without Steph Curry, can you just imagine what's going to happen when he comes back? Now, you're hoping it keeps going. This momentum, this positive momentum. Why would it? Why would it not? Because you have the best shooter in the freaking world. You're adding it to this. So that would be great. Andrew Wiggins, again, personal matters. We don't know what's going on there with him. Hoping the best. Whenever he comes back, that would be gravy. But just to get Stephen Curry back into this lineup as soon as possible would be huge. Now, I'm not holding my breath this week. Anthony Slater was on with Willard and Dibbs this week. He was talking about it, and he's our 95.7 The Game Warriors insider. He knows everything. He's the best at what he does. He was saying he's expecting probably next week, maybe, but didn't feel like it was going to be this week in which he comes back. Maybe the Lakers game this Sunday. And the Lakers, by the way, fell to the Grizzlies last night. Great night for the Warriors just around the league. Clippers L, Mavericks L, T-Wolves L. Again, Lakers L. So everything is falling into place for the Warriors. Can they start to capitalize more and more as this season winds down? That's what we were talking about all season long. Can they start building something? Because every time they build something up, it gets taken right back down. It's kind of like a game of Tetris. This has been Tetris kind of season for the Warriors. It keeps kind of get built up, and then it just starts coming down. Now in Tetris, that's a good thing. For the Warriors, they need to start stacking these W's. They need to get some breathing room because all the other teams up in the conference, they've already separated themselves. The Nuggets separated themselves. Grizzlies separating themselves. Hell, LTB, Light the Beam, is separating themselves. They're 11 games over 500. My goodness. Good for Kings fans. They're on a 4-game winning streak right now. The Suns, KD's coming back. That's going to be interesting. How's that going to play? Right now, and my God, please. Right now, we're looking at a first-round matchup for the Warriors that is a Phoenix Warriors matchup. Oh, please, God. The Kevin Durant drama alone would make this so juicy. My goodness. Hell, even if It's the Kings that fall to that spot. The Warriors-Kings matchup. And I know Warriors fans are looking around like, I don't want to stay at 5. I want to get greedy. You have a good opportunity to. Only one game back of that four seed. We're going to see what the Suns look like with Kevin Durant when they take on the Charlotte Hornets. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. Hamza Raja on the YouTube chat. The Warriors are 12-12 without Steph and 2018 with him. Never have been 3 games over 500. They're 0-6 and chances to do so. Next chance versus the Clippers tomorrow. It's a good point, Hamza. Appreciate you checking in on the YouTube chat. Can they do it? That's going to be a tough task to do, especially against Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Russell Westbrook. Oh, man, Russell Westbrook. I told you guys. I told you when it happened. What is the opposite of addition by subtraction? It's subtraction by addition. And I think that's what happened to the Los Angeles Clippers with Russell Westbrook, Paul George caping up for his guy from their OKC days together. I'm just not going to be able to see it. When push comes to shove, when it's balls to the wall, when it's nut busting time, when it's the playoffs, and everything is heightened, especially the defense and these closing possessions, Russell Westbrook cannot have that ball in his hands. It needs to be in Kawhi's or Paul George's. Cannot be Russell Westbrook's. And we're going to see what's going to go on tomorrow at Chase Center when they all come to town. I cannot wait for that matchup. Again, all these games are going to start meaning more and more as the season winds down here, heading into the play-ins and the playoffs. And we're going to have all that coverage for you here, right here, 95.7 The Game. Let's hear more from the post-game and a guy that's just been the MVP, I think, of the season thus far. You can pick either him or Kevon Looney, but I feel like I'm going with my guy, Dante DiVincenzo. And here is him after the game talking about that big team win and them weathering the storm.
That was a big team win. It was a big team effort defensively. I think, second half, we were more disciplined in what we wanted to do. And also first half, you have to give them credit. They made a lot of shots, but I think we weathered the storm. We stayed together. We were more disciplined in the second half on what we were throwing at Damian. Ultimately, when we're together like that, you see the runs that we make and, the crowd gets into it. And once that happens, anything can happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just weathering the storm. And that was what made the old Warriors team so good. They could weather that storm and then flip the switch. And that's what they did last night. Kind of was an old Warriors feel to it, where it's like, yeah, they're down this much, but they're going to come back. Hell, the Blazers have scars, Dame specifically. I remember that Western Conference Finals. What was that, 2019? Didn't the Blazers have double-digit leads in every single one of those games? And they got swept. Like, Dame's probably thinking to himself, man, if the Warriors just weren't, and I'm sure every other team in the league, LeBron specifically in those Cavs teams, man, if this Warriors team just was out of the way, maybe just, sorry. They're one of the greatest teams of all time, and they put their stamp on it this last decade. 888-957-9570, Xfinity mobile text line from the chat. The T-Wolves beat the Clippers last night. I think I misspoke. I said the T-Wolves also took an L, referring to Sunday when I was in attendance for that game with young Benjamin. The Warriors beat them straight up, so a lot of good things the last few days for the Warriors going their way. And hey, a real man makes his own luck. Billy Zane, Titanic. All right? The Warriors, if you put yourself in positions to win and you play on both ends of the floor, good things are going to happen. And they're showing that yesterday, and they showed that a couple days ago, and they're going to continue to show that, hopefully, as the season goes on. I'm not here to say they're a lock for the playoffs. I'm not here to say that you can't be afraid. I'm not here to say anything. I'm saying even keel like my guy Draymond Green. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. Just keep going forward. Can they stack W's? Because I'm not going to sit here and say, you know what? They've turned it all around. This is a different team. Because that's shame on me. What have they shown me this season to prove that they have changed their ways? What have they shown all of us this season? That they can't be trusted. They're consistently inconsistent. That's what the Golden State Warriors have been this season. There is still time to change that narrative, but they got to start doing it now. And it starts tomorrow at Chase Center against the Los Angeles Clippers. 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. Ernie Chavez on the YouTube chat Good morning, Ernie. Spadoni, yesterday's win was the biggest win of the season. All these wins are going to start being the biggest wins of the season. I was saying that against when they beat the Timberwolves on Sunday and Monday. I was like, you know what? It's the biggest win of the season because every single next win is going to be the biggest win of the season. And you know what? The next loss will be the biggest loss of the season. This is just Sports Talk Radio gold. I'm going to be honest. This station's loving this because you know what? Every single game means so much. It's almost like at the end of a baseball season, right? And you're looking all in the stands. You got the Padres, you got the Dodgers. Hell, maybe the Giants this year. I doubt it, but I digress. It was like that Dodgers run a couple of years ago. It was them and the Dodgers, neck and neck. Best teams in the NL and all of MLB all season long. And every single game was just heightened. And every single loss felt excruciating. Every single win felt excruciating. And that's what it's felt like for the Warriors, and what it's going to feel like for the Warrior fans as this season heads to an end. 888-957-9570. Draymond Green, more from him from last night on what impressed him.
Very impressed. You lose Steph and things are already rocky. It's very easy to continue to go the wrong way. It's very easy to pout, feel sorry for yourself. I said to the guys on the bench against the Clippers, like, nobody's going to feel bad for us. We don't need anybody to feel bad for us. We know what it takes. We know the guys that we have in this locker room and what we're capable of. The expectation is we're going to win. It'll be smooth sailing, and that's just that. The reality is no championship season is smooth sailing. No season is smooth sailing. And it's very hard to win. It's very hard. And so, when you go through the adversity, you got to stay the course, because if you can, you come out on the other side of it a totally different team. You come out on the other side of it motivated. You come out on the other side of it stronger and together. And I think, we're doing that. Now, in saying that, we won 3 in a row games, 3 in a row at home. We took care of what we were supposed to take care of. We got 2 more games on this homestand. We need to close the deal. So I don't want to overreact, but these been some good wins for us, and it's something we can build on.
There you go. Don't want to overreact. Draymond knows the assignment. He knows what to do. He is and has been the emotional leader of that team throughout his entire career. And he had to earn a lot of that trust back. We know what happened before the season. The punch heard around the world, one punch man. So he had to earn all that trust back. And it was just a tumultuous, and has been, still is. I'm not trusting this team yet. It's been a tumultuous season for the Golden State Warriors in more ways than one. Your general manager might be leaving, check that. President of Basketball Ops, Bob Myers. Check him out on the executive show, Steiny and Guru, every other week, right here at 95.7 The Game. You got Bob Myers potentially leaving. Curry's been hurt. Jordan Poole seemingly regressed. Now he's been playing a little bit better at times. Draymond Green's been in a funk. Klay Thompson was in a funk for a good part of the season. And the team just looked lost. They looked lost. Now, 3 wins in a row at home. And by the way, it's crazy to think about if you're just going back, 6 days ago, that Lakers lost to open up the second half. And it's just, you know what? It might just not be their year. And you got 3 straight wins. And now what? I like our title chances. It's amazing what wins do to not only a fan base, but to the confidence of the players and the entire organization. 888-957-9570, YouTube chat. What is up, guys? Scrolling through right here. El Guero, good morning, my friend. Good morning, Joe. How you feeling about the Lakers without LeBron? They're done. That's how I feel about them. Brandon Cadiz. I think it's Cadiz, right? Can you give me a thumbs up or thumbs down? You hit me up on Twitter last night. I appreciate you. And any of you can hit me up on Twitter at Spadoni_Joe if you would like to do that. Inserts, I think they got their swagger back video. Oh, I love that video. That's a classic. And I think the Jaren Jackson dunk over AD was better than the Shaedon Sharpe one. That was a foul, by the way. Smacked AD in the face. Don't let my salty fandom get in the way of that. Anyways, 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570 on the Xfinity Mobile text line, 408. Good morning. Let's talk about some F1 starting this week. No chance. Sorry. It's not happening. Langford, that was his thing. Big F1 guy. He's got the British parents. They love F1. I have my Uncle Phil, who's English, and he would always have it on his house. He's like, hello, Joey. Do you want to watch some F1? Some Formula One? Michael Schumacher? No. That was a horrible impression of my Uncle Phil. If you're listening, I'm sorry. But no. I'm never into car racing. I'm going to put the route on the table. It doesn't do anything for me. NASCAR, Formula One, did the Red Bull Grand Prix. I did a little bit. That's Superbike, stuff like that. When it was down in Laguna Seca, lived down in Monterey. So I did that a few times. Just never really, no. And I love sports. I respect the art and the sports nature of Formula One, NASCAR, what those guys do. It's a hell of an achievement and accomplishment to just be able to drive that fast. I'm freaked out. I think the fastest I ever went in a car. Shout out to CHP officers if you're listening. But fastest I think I ever went was like 115 in my brother's BMW M3. And that felt way too fast. So can only imagine with them. But no. Back to basketball. Back to the Warriors. And here's more from Draymond Green. And man, he was just honest and forthright as can be last night after that win, after that victory. He asked a lot, stayed a lot. And again, shout out to the guys who cut up all the sound from last night right here on 95.7 The Game. And here's Draymond about talking about the ways they have responded to adversity this season.
I don't think you're necessarily looking at it like, this feels like, the teams that were great in the third quarter, but what you figure out is, can the team withstand adversity? Quite frankly, this team has not, throughout the season. Now, you look at where we are and you say, done a pretty good job of withstanding it, but there's times where adversity have hit and we haven't responded well to it. That's growth, right? Like that's the growth you want to see. All of a sudden, adversity hits a couple games in a row and you respond the right way. That's where you want to be. And, it's game 62. So it's about time that you start turning that corner.
I'm laughing because this guy from the 925, you are my favorite texter every single morning, no doubt. He is a pre-gamer from the 925, the Xfinity Mobile text line. Joe Jabroni, if the Warriors were a spice, they'd be flour. Thank you. Thank you, 925. With that, we're going to take a quick break. Come on back. Again, if you would like to get involved, 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. We'll react to what Draymond just said about his adversity and the adversity throughout the season. Because, listen, they're overcoming it in a large way without Stephen Curry and even with Andrew Wiggins being away from the team. That's two huge monumental losses to a team. And let's don't get it twisted. Those are the two best players for the Golden State Warriors in their championship run last year in the playoffs. So missing those two guys and going on this 3-game mini winning streak is huge. They're going to try to extend it tomorrow when they take on the Los Angeles Clippers. And again, you can hear all that right here on 95.7 The Game. 888-957-9570. YouTube chat, Twitch, hit me up there. Hello. This is the pregame show. Joe Spadoni. More on the Warriors win over the Blazers on the other side, 95.7 The Game.
It's a Warriors Wednesday on 95.7 The Game. Warriors GM Bob Myers joins Steiny and Guru.
Welcome back. Pre-game show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. Hope all of you are well. Looks like we got a little break in the rain here in the Bay for a little bit. That is nice. It's still windy, so if you're driving around, please be safe. If you're just getting off work, getting ready for work, getting ready for school, getting ready for any trip you're going on, let me know about the trips at 888-957-9570, 888-957-9570. I live vicariously through others now when they go on their trips. My brother-in-law is currently in Japan, so been living vicariously through that. I have 2 kids now. I don't plan on going any trips anytime soon. Not until they're a little bit older anyways. I'm big into trips that they could actually remember, like big trips like that. I have a 3-year-old and a 4-month-old. I ain't going to remember jack. So it's way better another 5 or 6 years for any big trips. But yeah, let me know if any of you are traveling throughout these next coming weeks. 888-957-9570. We are reacting to, well, some of you are relaxing to it too, the Golden State Warriors 123-105 victory over the Portland Trailblazers, and just a massive win and a chance for the Warriors tomorrow against the Clippers to go to a place they haven't been all season. I now was confirming with our producer extraordinaire of the Morning Roast, Sam Lubman, and he confirmed it. The Warriors have not been over 3 games over 500 throughout this entire season. And I was making sure. I was like, that's right? They haven't been. And it's just crazy to say out loud, this Warriors team, the defending champions, have not been 3 games over 500 all season long. It's just nuts. And they got a chance to do it tomorrow at home in front of the Chase Center crowd against Kawhi, against PG, Paul George, and against Russell Westbrook. My God, would that feel good. Oh, that Clippers team. And don't forget, we haven't forgot about Pat Bev when he was on the Clippers either, by the way. Don't worry. Whatever. You had these last 5 years, right? The next 5 years are mine to Steph Curry. Okay, bud. How many teams have been on the last couple of years? So, yes, circling that one tomorrow. Just a massive, massive game. And again, today is the day that Stephen Curry was supposedly supposed to be reevaluated. So we're going to hear how that's going to go. Anthony Slater joining the Morning Roast. He's our 95.7 The Game Warriors insider. He's going to have all the deets on that and the schedule moving forward, state of the Warriors. So he's joining the Morning Roast, Shasky and Bonte, and they're fired up, joining them at 8 o'clock. Cannot wait for that. Cannot wait for Dante DiVincenzo to speak right now. And he was impressed with Klay Thompson in his last month, and he's just gassing up his teammates. And I love that for Dante. Here's him talking about Klay's last month.
He doesn't change. I said it last game. He just does not change. So you never know if he's having a good game or bad game. And I think that's really important for us because, we're going to need him in the biggest moments. And he stepped up big time tonight.
That's huge. And you heard Draymond talking about that earlier. The veterans not showing too much emotion, whether that's getting too high or getting too low, staying even keel. That is massive for a championship team and a team with a lot of young players on it. Dante DiVincenzo, yeah, he's experienced. He's a veteran, still a younger guy, 26. Got some young players on here. Kuminga, another one. Jerome, Lamb, these guys. They need to stay even keel, especially while Steph is out. And Klay Thompson, kudos to him. He has actually had to become a vocal leader. Klay Thompson, the guy that doesn't like to talk, he doesn't like to do it, but he will if he needs to. And that's the mark of a true leader. One that usually just leads by example, going out of his way to finally speak. And I feel like the words mean more from guys like that who aren't usually huge speakers, right? You always have that guy in the office that doesn't speak much, but when he does, it's usually important. Like that was Klay Thompson for these Warriors this last couple months. He has had to be the leader. And that's really fun to see because we haven't really seen this side of Klay Thompson. And granted, the Warriors haven't needed it. Thank you, Joe Shasky, for dropping all this coffee. It is much needed. He is decked out in his Warriors gear. He is loving it. Oh, real quick, chime in.
I heard you. Oh, I need my coffee this morning.
Dude.
I could feel it. I felt you through the radio.
Dude, it was bad. That's Joe Shasky. He's going to join me next segment for the crossover. Cannot get his thoughts on this game and this little streak that the Warriors are on. 3 games in a row. And again, thank you, Joe Shasky, for the coffee. And the Warriors, it looks like they had a nice cup of morning roast. Am I right? These last few games, after that Lakers loss, they did not have their cup of coffee heading out of the All-Star break. And now they are on a winning streak. The Golden State Warriors are on a winning streak. Folks, that is an incredible thing at this point in the season. Because how many winning streaks have there been? I'm not counting 2 games. I'm not going to do it. 3? Okay. That's sign for celebration. And I can't believe that's where we're at this point in the season. And it's just, it's wild. The season's just nuts. What can I say? I'm going to expect the unexpected because that's just all I can think of. With all these teams bunched up together, Suns 33-29, Warriors 32-30, Clippers 33-31, Mavs 32-31, T-Wolves 32-32. Like, it's just, I don't know what to expect. And I'm so excited to be able to talk about this with all of you as the season goes down, because it could either go really well or go really poor, or you know what? It could just go 500 like it's been for most of this season. It could literally go in any way, and I would not be shocked. And that's actually what I'm thinking that Adam Silver in the league like right now. I think that's what he was trying to say when he said this league has never been more competitive. Well, in the standings, maybe that's true. Maybe that's true. 888-957-9570. Morali on the YouTube chat, thank you for being an inspiration for me heading to the gym. Okay. Appreciate you. Big workout guy, if that's what you're referring to, or am I just being an inspiration talking about sports? Either way, I appreciate it. Got the home gym. Not big into the going out because I don't really have time. So a big home gym guy if you have the means to do so. 447 on the Xfinity mobile text line. Where's the 447 app? I think that's on Neptune. Dubs and Clay continue to own Dame Lillard. You know, that was an interesting conversation that Shasky brought to the morning roast yesterday. Who has been better in their careers, Klay Thompson v. Dame Lillard. And I think a lot of people would say Dame. I mean, he's always voted to the 75th anniversary team. Klay was slighted. He didn't like that. He admitted he didn't like that. And for most of his career, it's actually been Dame compared to Steph. But he kind of threw a curveball there, the comparison to Dame v. Klay. And it was an interesting one. It was definitely an interesting one. Upon first hearing it, I feel like most people, including myself, are like, well, Dame's had to have been a 1 his entire career, right? And we love Dame here in the Bay. He's an Oakland native. I live in Oakland. He does a lot for the community there. Appreciate all that he does. Big Raider fan. Love that. But yeah, he hasn't won anything. And I don't think he's ever going to win a championship if he's the number 1 option. And I don't think that's crazy hyperbole. I don't think that's anything. I don't think that's a slight at him. Just at this point, where he's at in his career, he's just not going to be the number 1 on a championship winning team. He's not. Now, I'm not saying Klay Thompson would be either, but that was a huge argument where Klay hasn't been able to do it by himself. He's never led a team by himself. So, well, he hasn't had to. And I'm not going to slight Klay Thompson because he gets to play with the greatest shooter of all time and potentially the greatest defender of all time. And yeah, a top 10 player of all time in Kevin Durant as well. So, if ifs and buts, candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. Shout out Low Neal. It is what it is. We can just appreciate greatness. I know that's not like what we like to do in Sports Talk Radio, but Damian Lillard, respect. Klay Thompson, respect. I'll take either of those careers if we're just going to put it bluntly. And it goes into the whole rings or no rings argument. And listen, it's not like Dame has won an MVP. He's been All-NBA a bajillion times. He has been All-NBA, but it's not like he has had this amazing career compared to Klay Thompson. Klay's got the hardware, and I think he's okay with that. I know the 75th anniversary thing was disappointing for him, but I have a good feeling that he will make the 100th anniversary team in 25 years. 888-957-9570. Steve Kerr talked after the game on the adjustments that were made during the half. That was the key for the Golden State Warriors turning it on in the third quarter there.
I think we messed up a couple coverages. We weren't in sync defensively, so the quick timeouts were just to help us get organized. And I thought our staff did a great job at halftime making adjustments. We kind of cut down the game plan a little bit, simplified it in the second half, and that made a difference. But I have such a great staff, and we got guys who are really all over, the adjustments that need to be made, and they communicated that well to the group, and everybody executed. It was fun.
A game of adjustments. It's a game of adjustments, especially in basketball. I know we heard the Peyton Manning quote a couple weeks ago where he says halftime adjustments. Those don't happen. I thought that was interesting. I was like, really? I was like, maybe if you're Peyton Manning and you're one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time for you in the offense, defensively, there better be some freaking adjustments. Since I'm saying defensively, when Damian Lillard is getting whatever he wanted in the first half yesterday at Chase Center, yeah, there better be some adjustments. And Steve Kerr made them. Chauncey Billups, it was up to him to, react to that, read and react to those adjustments, and he couldn't do it. So, huge win for the Warriors last night as they take out the Portland Trail Blazers, 123-105. And by the way, this is a Warriors Wednesday brought to you by Friedman's Appliance. 888-957-9570. 3-game winning streak for the Golden State Warriors. Will they make it 4? Let me know. 888-957-9570. YouTube, Twitch. Let me know. One more segment. The Crossover is next. Joe Shasky, the Morning Roast, will join me, get his thoughts on the win, get his thoughts on Jordan Poole, Klay Thompson, Dante DiVincenzo, Steve Kerr. And I have an interesting question to pose to him on the other side that you are not going to want to miss. This is the pregame show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game.
Damon and Ratto stream live on YouTube every
Welcome back. Pregame show, Joe Spadoni, 95.7 The Game. One more segment here. The Cross Drover, Joe Shasky, comes in to break down the Golden State Warriors win last night, 123-105 against the Jailblazers, as I still like to call them sometimes. Shasky, they overcame a 17-point halftime deficit, and I don't even remember that first half. I just don't even remember it because they just destroyed them in that second half, outscoring the Blazers. Oh my God. Just over 30 points they outscored them by in that second half. And it felt like the adjustments from Steve Kerr, what they were able to do on Damian Lillard, it changed everything. And it's weird. And we were talking about this yesterday, and I was kind of not with you on the Dame v. Clay thing. I was like, you know what? It's Dame still. He's the guy, but I kind of see where you're coming from now. After last night, it kind of did feel like, you know what? Felt a little bit of like a front runner.
He's hollow. Look, I want to make everything. Remove your emotion. Remove your attachment that he's from here. Like, I get all that. Believe me, I'm not diminishing him. He's a great player. He's not on the same level as CP3. He's just not.
No.
He's just not. Right? Like, because we all agree, CP3 is below Steph Curry. So you've seen all this stuff about Steph Curry and Dame Lillard. Okay. One thing I look at, are you a ball-dominant player? We do this with James Harden, right? Well, James can only play with the ball in his hand. Dame, same thing. Name the time in his career where you've seen him relocate to a corner over and over and over again throughout the course of a game. You've watched the Blazers a bunch of times, Warrior fans.
Yeah.
He doesn't do it.
Well, James Harden, if you're going to do that comparison, he's won MVP. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
James Harden's raw data, better.
It's one of the, and I'll say this, and I'm not going to say that.
Rebounds, and points, all better.
James Harden's one of the greatest scorers of all time.
Hands down.
I mean, and Dame is really, really good.
You don't
James Harden's on another level to me.
100%. And so, like, again, he's really, really, really good, Dame. He occupies a space, though, where he gets zero criticism. And it's wild to me. Like, it almost feels like the upper echelon people get way over-criticized. And then there's, like, the people beneath that, oh, you're not looking for a ring? We're going to crush you. And then there's Dame Lillard, and he occupies this weird purgatory in between the two spaces.
I was texting Steiny and Guru in the chat yesterday with Evan Giddings, and we were just talking about the game. I was like, this is verbatim when I texted. I was like, Dame has somehow controlled the narrative that staying in Portland instead of, quote, ring chasing on another team is more admirable and actually the more difficult path. The reality is, though, he hasn't won jack.
100%.
Like, that's the rat on the table. Shout out Daryl the Guru Johnson. He hasn't won anything.
My boy Rocco texted me yesterday, and I think this summarizes all my feelings on Dame. The woe is me attitude has given him a free pass.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in Portland. I want to be here. Small markets, this, that, and the other. And
that's great for that fan base, but the narrative outside their Dame is that you are afraid of the smoke. You don't want to put yourself out there on another team and try to win a championship.
Well, and the other part,
I think that's what it comes off of to me. Because it's easy to stay in your bubble in the Pacific Northwest. Be like, you know what? I'm the guy. I'm going to be the greatest athlete. Hell, he said he was the greatest Blazer of all time, which is kind of nuts to me. I've never heard a player that's actively playing for a franchise say, yeah, I'm the greatest player in this franchise. Like, Steph's never said that. And we know Steph is. Like, I don't imagine a guy like saying that. And I love Dame. But it's very easy to stay in your Pacific Northwest bubble. And you know what? No adversity. It's fine.
Well, let me ask you this. Like, in terms of, because we look at point guards, everyone's shooting. He's not a better shooter than Steph.
No.
Come on. Like, okay, so take that to the side. Is he
really good? Not Steph's level.
Is he a better playmaker than CP3 in the half court?
No.
For himself?
Yes. But CP3 looks to pass before he looks to shoot.
And look, I know everybody wants to hate on CP3. You take a step back. CP3, way better defender.
I think we have been very jaded by how CP3, his whole look, his narrative over these last 5 years. He is one of the greatest point guards of all time.
So you're with me. As much as we all hate him and theatrics and all that stuff, you have to take a step back.
Because we remember his Hornets days and how good he was there. Like, come on.
He was amazing. And everyone oh, he played with superstars. Let's go back in time. Blake Griffin really a superstar?
He should have. Let's put the round on the table. I don't want to get on a tangent here, but David Stern Knicks, the Lakers trade, where if he played with Kobe,
100%.
I guarantee. I feel like they win a title.
100%. And look, he's got his own, choker situation in big moments. I'll give him this.
His body chokes more than anything.
He took his team to the finals.
He did.
I'm assessing, because this isn't about is Dame great. He is great. But when you're assessing the greats and you're comparing and contrasting them,
you have to.
These are the things that
the
separate
criteria.
them.
No, absolutely. And that's what we do that with the top 10 and stuff like that.
Exactly.
And when Curry if he wins another chip and you're going to be comparing him with the greats, you know what the people are going to go to? Well, Jordan did it on both ends of the floor.
Exactly.
That's what it's going to turn into.
Which is fair.
Yeah. So
what's the equalizer when you talk about Giannis? What makes Giannis so incredible?
He's great offense and defense. He's a DPOY and an MVP.
Now,
who's the only other person to do that? Jordan?
Yes. And Akeem Olajuwon.
Yeah.
When I look at Steph Curry, his offense is so spectacular
that
it
makes
overrides the defensive efficiencies, and not just with the ball in his hands. He's as deadly without the ball in his hands. He creates space for others. When I watch Dame play, he's great within the bubble of him feeding himself. Who does he make better?
We're getting a lot of hate on the YouTube chat and the text line from Supremacia 99.
We're comparing the greats.
CP3 has been choking playoff games since his Hornets days. Okay, those Hornets teams, he was the best player and he was going up against the Kobe and Pau Lakers. I didn't expect them to do anything in there. Those Rockets teams, the Melo Nuggets teams, all those stuff. We are not hating CP3. He's Hall of Fame, I agree, but he's better than Dame. I disagree.
So let's have the conversation here, right? And again, this is when you're ranking the greats. This is how I would rank them, and I would love to hear other people's interpretations. In this era, Steph best point guard.
Yes.
CP3 number 2.
Yes, I think Russell Westbrook at a point had an argument.
I agree with you. I would probably put Russ ahead of everyone else and put him in the 3 slot. Mm-hmm. His 10 years are as good as anyone's.
Yeah.
I'm not even a Russ fan.
No. But his early OKC days, what he was able to do, then immediately after Kevin Durant left, he had an MVP season, averaged a triple-double. So he's not a winning player. You're not going to win a championship as a focal point, but he had an individual greatness to him.
And you can't diminish the results of what he did for a decade. To me, the way he played, he was awesome. All right, so Dame's below him, right? We all agree.
I think so.
Okay.
I think not everyone would agree, but I do.
Here's where I think it's an interesting question. Kyrie, Dame.
Ooh. Dame not as injured. He's played more. Numbers are better. Kyrie, who do you want on a championship team, though? It's probably Kyrie, because we've seen it at a high level.
This is my point.
But his body breaks down.
But isn't it crazy that, Kyrie is the more clutch, playoff proven performer?
He is. I'm not saying Dame's not clutch. He has some game-winning shots, stuff like that.
I know.
But
come on, it's Kyrie and Dame.
It's very hard, and I mentioned this
Game 7 tomorrow. Kyrie or Dame?
I'm on Kyrie.
Thank you.
I mean, Kyrie hit
one of the biggest shots.
The biggest shot, if not the biggest shot in the history of the NBA, taking out the greatest season the team has ever had up to that point.
Am I some Kyrie truther? No.
You're not a flat earther.
I find him to be
Kyrie truther. I love that.
I find him to be insane. In terms of being a teammate, he'd be a horrible teammate to play with. I think for a variety of reasons.
Not looking good for Dallas, by the way. Another loss.
But let's also when we look back on the history of the game, I do think that this is where the argument is. Again, we're talking about 4th or 5th best, and that's not a slight on Dame. He's awesome. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. He's great. But when we're separating the greats, I do think all of these other things matter. Defense, which I told you Steph doesn't play any, but some of the things he does overrides it. Assists in terms of playmaking in the half court and setting up others. CP3 is infinitely better than him.
Yeah, well, I look at, and I think a lot of us here in the Bay, and a lot of people here are hesitant because I get it. Dame is a local guy. Yeah. He's from Oak. We all love him. What he does for the community, he's a great guy. He's never been a problem off the court. Mm-hmm. That's a big plus to him, and I think he's a great teammate. Whereas some of these guys, like you mentioned, a Westbrook, a Kyrie, these aren't great teammates. But it's very hard for me. The lasting image I have of the Blazers is just getting wrecked by the Warriors.
I know.
Constantly. Say this for Harden and the Rockets. They probably should have beaten the Warriors when they had that huge lead in Game 7.
Let me throw an analogy
missed a bajillion threes in a row. 4 times in 2019 in that Western Conference, real quick, Shasky.
I know.
They had a double-digit lead. They couldn't. Dame couldn't close any of those?
None of it.
None of them.
I know, and they looked terrible. And they got ran off the floor in a couple of those games at the end. I look at Frank Gore very similarly. Frank was never the best running back in any individual season.
No.
Outside of maybe an argument can be made for 2006.
Yeah.
Okay? But, like, he was never the best player in his position.
It was Adrian Peterson through all those years.
He's one of my favorite players of all time. He's a 49er legend. He's a great player. But when we're talking about, like, greatest of all time, even though he might have individual accolades.
He'll make the Hall of Fame because he was people want to say a compiler, but that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was a very good player for a long time.
Again, Joe,
Yeah.
I love him more than almost anyone.
That's your boy.
Right? And I also recognize that, like, 1 yard to go with my life on the line. Yeah, I'm going like Derrick Henry, Barry Sanders. Like, there's a million other guys I'm going ahead of him. Still a Hall of Famer, still an all-time legend, still a great. But when we're separating the greats, he's well below a lot of these other guys. And that's not a knock on him. It's just it's where he stacks up.
No, absolutely. That's Joe Shasky. He's going to be joining Bonta Hill next. Anthony Slater at 8 o'clock with them. And Stephen Curry, by the way, Shasky, is supposed to get reevaluated today. That was the timeline, anyways, for his knee, the interosseous membrane, the tibiofibular whatever thing. I don't know what it was. He hurt his knee, Shasky, and they're going to look at it today. Hopefully that's going to be all good. And they've been doing this without Steph, and this has been great to watch. Real quick, biggest game of the season tomorrow. They're going to get it done, Shasky? Huh?
It's so crazy. A week ago, I was ready
game of the season.
I was ready to wave the white flag. LeBron looked incredible. Two trains in opposite directions.
I kid you not. If they win tomorrow, you know what it's going to be? Championship bound. Oh, not even close.
I have an analogy that you cannot wait to hear in 5 minutes, and I'm going to lay it on Bonta because I know he's seen this trilogy, and I'm going to lay this analogy on him. And I want to hear your thoughts.
I got the greatest analogy stat that not even Socrates knows. That's coming up next on the Morning Roast.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM at HD1 San Francisco. An Odyssey station.